Born on fire, raising gasoline, out all night with my rockabilly queen. I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta go right now, on to the next cafe. I've been riding all night, going from town to town, flat like a chrome, fast thing around. I set them all up when they come my way. Another game of checker, come on, let's play. I gotta go, I gotta go. I gotta go right now, on to the next cafe. 100 miles an hour down an old dirt road, air and gasoline getting ready to explode. Wrap around a tree when his tires got loose. We'll never forget the old gray goose. I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta go right now, on to the next cafe.
All right, what is up? Is the Mad Hooter again? Dig that swinging sound. I happen to know those guys. Yeah, man. That's off the Bad Billy's first release off a 3-speed. I dig that old stuff, man. I've always enjoyed that kind of vibe, man. That's when rock and roll was being born, and they were merging swing and rock and roll, whatever that was in its infancy. Definitely put some energy into it. It's still dance music, which I always enjoy. So anyway, if you like rockabilly or swing music or whatever, if you like Stray Cats or Reverend Horton Heat, you might want to check out AC and the Bad Billies. Or don't. I don't care. I don't really do it for you. Just like these videos, I don't really do it for you guys. I do it for me. And if you guys dig it, then rad. But anyway, so today, um, there's everybody knows about the school shooting in Florida. Um, as easily predicted, the same old arguments are coming out, the gun control arguments, and then you've got people on the other side that are like, you can't ban guns, and they took their guns. Um, I don't really want to beat the statistics to death again because I've over social media and whatever Twitter I've gone over this gun thing a million times. And don't get me wrong. Um, if we could go way back in time and say just ban all the guns, then maybe I'd have been for that. But obviously, we that's not reality. That's not what happened, and here we are. And America has in a fairly uh, respectable part, we've been safe because we've got so many doggone guns here, which also creates part of the problem if you want to say that you're going to ban guns. Because, um, you know, um, I don't understand the logic of people that claim to be over on the left and they're like, we gotta do something, but these people are dying, and well, okay, yeah, we gotta do something, but your knee-jerk reaction to the tool that is used for killing people is not going to fix our overall problem. Um, you can you're gonna create all kinds of problems. This is because a gun law, you're not gonna solve the problem by creating some other magical unicorn gun law that's gonna stop school shootings. Um, because it's a fact that there are crazy people out there, and there are crazy people who usually turn out to be criminals, especially the psychotic, more off the chart insane people. So they're not exactly going to follow a gun law. And then we have so many weapons here of all kinds, that You're gonna be against a police state, but you want cops to go door to door to try to round up all the weapons? And that is an incredibly bad idea because if you don't want people to die, then you better not do that. I mean, because there are going to be people that will say, okay, and just give up their weapons, but there are going to be people, rightly or wrong, they're going to say, we ain't giving them up, dude. So what are you going to do? Send in the National Guard? Because these people are going to start grouping together, and then we got a problem. And then when you have people in the military, you're going to send the military in to take all the weapons? A lot of people in the military are these same people that don't want to give up their guns. So what are you going to do then? I mean, we got taking the guns away is not going to solve anything. And A, because there's so many. B, because we share borders with people that have guns too, and legally or otherwise. We've got cartels in Mexico. We've got legal uh, gun carrying people in Mexico. And then we've got people that are coming from further south, places like El Salvador or whatever, that are, El Salvador, I don't know if anybody knows, but they are on the top of the list of gun violence. It's something like 40 per 100,000. In America, we're not even in the top 10. We're just outside of the top 10 in gun violence. If you round it up, it's 4 per 100,000. More people are dying from cigarettes, more people are dying from booze, and more people are dying from cars. And this is also where the other dishonesty part comes in that bothers me. And just let's take, for instance, this problem that's going on right now with immigration. There are people coming over the border who are violent criminals, rapists, drug dealers. And the drug dealers, rapists, they're usually armed. And so American citizens are dying, or other immigrants are also dying because of these people. But I don't see them saying, "Hey, we got to ban these immigrants. They're a problem. There are people that are dying because of these immigrants." But they will say, "We got to ban guns because a criminal took a gun and killed somebody with it, or killed several people with it." And then there's the argument of, um, the lethality of the weapon. ARs. Man, it doesn't really make sense of what, because I've heard the argument of, well, these weapons are military style, which basically means they look like things that military guys carry, but they don't actually function in the same way. And fully automatic weapons, not only do most Americans not really want them, but they're also extremely expensive because you're talking about buying an antique. You're talking about buying an old Russian-made AK. And they're not nearly as reliable as some of these other weapons. So, A, most people don't really want them. They're very expensive and hard to get unless you go on the black market, and then they're still incredibly expensive. So this thing about ARs or whatever, I don't. I should do a video to where I'm explaining, but there's so many of them out there. I would just be beating a dead horse. Showing the size of what your standard AR weapon, the size of the actual projectile, is quite small. It's basically a 22 bullet. So if you're talking about an M4 or anything, you're talking about a significantly bigger size round and um, bigger charge that's behind it, that's pushing that projectile. So it's definitely more destructive. Now, an AR-15, which I've got a Bushmaster, which is basically an AR. I can pump out rounds as fast as I can pull that trigger, but it doesn't mean I'm actually putting them on target when I'm doing that. Um, Military people are not trained to fire that way. They're not trained to just hold the trigger down and spray bullets everywhere. Because usually by the third round, you're off target anyway. Even police are trained to shoot that way. 3-shot bursts. So fully automatic weapon is really not necessary. Most military people don't want to carry a fully automatic weapon because of the inefficiency and inaccuracy. So we could go all day about what the weapons are and this whole assault weapon, and that's just it's a made up word that doesn't mean anything. So if you want to talk about solutions, how are we gonna fix this problem where kids in schools or soft targets like churches, um, or nightclubs, these gun-free zones, that's what they are. They're soft targets. So we should figure out what we're supposed to do. And by the way, I brought up El Salvador. I've been to El Salvador several times, and the grocery stores, um, shopping mall areas, big public areas, they have guys with ARs standing outside. There's fences around them. You got to go through a gate to get into the grocery store. I mean, there's El Salvador is rough, dude. It's violent. And a lot of that is because their government is crap. So I think what if we want to protect schools or whatever, let them arm themselves. We don't need everybody in the school carrying a weapon, but why not have cops or something, or just our own. If we have to have terminal security, why can't we have school security? I mean, why not? You got no problem with people patting you down to get on an airplane. We gave up. See, this is what happens. People panic when stuff like this happens. Like after 9/11, people panicked and they were like, I don't want something to happen to me. So we let our personal liberties get stomped on because of this stupid Patriot Act stuff. And now we got Homeland Security and Terminal Security and all these agencies and government programs that, you know, so, I mean, to me, putting an armed, trained servant at the gates of these schools it seems logical. Like, why not? Because you don't want the kids to feel like they're being imprisoned? Well, are we worried about how they're feeling imprisoned, or are we worrying about how they're dead when they're shot by some lunatic with a weapon? Or let's say that it's not a weapon. What happens if next time it's some kid with a jacked up truck full of tannerite and he drives it into the school gym during the pep rally and kills everybody? What's stopping that from happening if we don't have people guarding the gates? I remember being upset in the 80s when we used to not have fences around schools. I don't know. I mean, some of you people might not be old enough to know that, but there used to not be fences around schools. And now we've got 10-foot high fences with concertina wire around them sometimes. So we're okay with putting up a border wall to protect our kids, metal detectors to protect our kids. Why not somebody who is armed to protect your kids? And don't get me wrong, there are already cops on campus. We already have cops on campus. But they're not allowed to be armed because it's a gun-free zone. So the worst thing that this cop could do when there's a shooter on campus is, I don't know, throw a book at him or an eraser. What's the point? I'm gonna tase you, bro. Put down your AR now. I got bear mace, bro. Bear mace, bro. I'm gonna spray you with the bear mace. I mean, it just doesn't seem stupid. If we're already got TSA and all these other things, and I don't want to live in a police state more than anything else. But if you want a police state, go ahead and try banning guns. You're gonna need some big time policing, and the military industrial complex will kick in because we gotta have all these people going door to door taking away guns. And I guarantee you, people are gonna die. Whether it's the hand of armed civilians or our military killing civilians. Now, what do you think? What do you think the outrage is gonna be when we have armed soldiers walking the streets having to kill people who will not give up their guns. You don't People don't think about this stuff. What's going to happen? They just want to outrage and have knee-jerk reactions and say crazy shit that's never going to work. If children are our future, then let's protect them. Not say that, coddled. Oh, they can't feel scared because there's a guy with a gun at the door. What if he loses his mind? Okay, well, good point. This is why we should be making sure that we are screening people for mental health. There is a government program that I would support. Let's dump money into that, and actually, I'd rather localize it. But let's make sure that all these kids are being screened. Let's make sure that we can shake the sieve and we get the bad ones, the people that need help. If we help them and find out, okay, they've been bullied, they've been doing all this, you're not gonna stop bullying. But we can help people or pay attention when it's happening. Not go, oh, Johnny, you stop that. You be nice now. You be nice. When you got the same fucking kid that's the bullying people, beating people up, raising hell, saying crazy shit, you got to do something. You can't just go, oh well, little Johnny over there, he's just a bad apple. He just, oh, he's just, we'll put him in the little classroom with all the other bad kids, and we'll make him write some essays, and that'll make him all better. We'll enforce our will on him more, which is probably making him crazy. Our systems are creating these crazy kids. Not all, but we are having an effect. I guarantee it. Our classrooms are overcrowded. We have some teachers, and not all, but we do have some teachers that have tenure and they don't really give a shit, especially when they have the problem kid. They're like, Johnny, to the back of the class. Go to the office. Get out of my face. You're not my problem. You're somebody else's problem. Instead of saying, hey, Johnny's got some issues. We need to find out what's going on at his home. We need to find out what his parent situations are. We need to find out why he's acting out like this. We need to find out if he's being bullied or if he is the bully. But nobody wants to think about that because it's either, oh, we got to ban guns. Okay, well, then you're just not going to. I don't want to beat that argument up because it's just dumb. They banned guns in Australia. People are still dying in Australia. Not by guns, mostly. There's almost no guns in Japan. And people are still getting stabbed, and the gangs still exist in Japan. And people are getting beat up with bats and axes and brutal shit. I mean, I would rather take a bullet to the skull than be beat to death with a fucking axe handle. Evil exists within humanity, and we need to be able to find that first and squash that instead of saying the tool that they're using is the problem. Because there are plenty good people who are farmers and need their axes and their hoes and their, wreaths, rapers. That was a play on words. Hope you got it. The farmers that use these tools for legitimate reasons, just as there are people who use weapons as legitimate tools. Cops need them for work. Some people have weapons to hunt. Some people have weapons just because they like to go out and shoot beer cans in the afternoon. Who are we to say that it's constitutional to take that right away from the vast majority of people who are law abiding? That's not an answer. It shouldn't even be in the fucking conversation. People solving problem should be what's in the conversation. That should be the focus. Let's find a way to fix the people, or to find the people that are having trouble. I had a friend in high school, Doyle Vize, and he was one of those kids. And nobody ever paid attention, and I tried to bring it to people's attention because everybody would say, "Oh, Doyle's just crazy, man. He's crazy." You know, his dad, we all knew that his dad was beating the shit out of him and that Doyle was becoming a problem. And I brought it up because he told me something one day, and I was like, whoa, that is messed up. I told my dad, I told people at school. Nobody did anything. 2 weeks later, Doyle was found hanging from a tree in the woods. Nobody listened when I tried to tell him, and nobody really gave a shit. And that's the problem that we have. We have a actual really given a shit problem in this country. And I don't really care what you say because I've seen it. And I watch these people deteriorate. I've seen people be bullied and just sink deeper and deeper and deeper. And nobody does anything. Because when it comes down to it, people don't want to fucking be inconvenienced with other people's problems. You don't believe me? Get in America and drive your car through fucking traffic. And people are only concerned about themselves and where they're going. Go to the fucking grocery store when it's busy. You see people interacting and being friendly, like, oh, excuse me, whatever. You might see some of that, but for the most part, you see people. Black Friday sales. People running over each other to get to the fucking hot toy of the year. This is human nature. This is what we have to fix. Not fucking guns. I don't know. Y'all can argue with me all day long about it. I just think we need to fix people, and we should be paying attention to what kids are saying and doing. We need parenting, big time. A lot of parenting and making sure that we have two parents would solve a lot of our problems. Even if you're gay or whatever, let's have two parents. Single parent doesn't do it. We need somebody policing the parent. We need two parents working together to make sure that they're raising this child in a healthy manner, making sure that their mind is solid, that they're able to make good decisions together, that they have enough empathy for their other human beings around them, that they care about things instead of their own selfish garbage. So that's kind of where I'm at on that today. Let me know your thoughts down below. But I will tell you this, I'm not going to argue gun statistics with you because I've been over that over and over again. I've beat it to death. It's just the gun control idea just doesn't work. It doesn't add up. But let's try to find some solutions. I'd rather talk about that than argue over whether or not guns need to be banned. So, until that time, I am the Mad Hooter. Defend the faith.